My people, welcome back to Eke React. I'm back with another trending topic in Nigeria. So for this trending video, northern Nigerian stakeholders don't reject Tinubu communication tariff and tax reform bill. So okay, make we first sabi wetin this bill be. This communication tariff and tax reform bill na law wey wan increase tax for telecommunication service. The government talk say they wan use am take raise money wey go cover the deficit of our economy. But e get as e be for northern stakeholders body. Dem don yarn say the bill go, put more wahala for people wey no too get money, affect small business wey dey dependent on cheap communication, scatter the region wey already dey struggle with poor internet access. So the northern stakeholders even talk say the bill no follow at all, say e go carry more inequality enter the country, especially for their side. So make we check the kind wahala we fit expect if them pass this bill. If them no look this thing well, the price of internet and mobile service fit climb well. Imagine small business where they struggle already. How them go fit survive? Politically, the matter no NGL. Northern stakeholders, they want say this thing fit scatter the relationship where the Tinubu administration gets with the northern Nigeria. So una remember say na the same north give Tinubu strong support during the last election. So my people, wetin una think? This bill na good news to fix the economy, or na something wey go cause more wahala for the country? So abeg drop your comments for the comment section. I want hear your opinion on this particular matter. Don't forget to like this video so that it will be recommended to others, and subscribe to this channel if you are new to this channel. Press the notification bell so that you no go miss any of our updates.
Bola Ahmed Tinubu met a single unit of that ban A 60 to 70 naira, and today Nigerians are buying a single unit from ban A over 200 naira. We have seen the reform policy in poor security, and today's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu met Nigerians buying a bag of rice at the rate of 30 to 35,000 naira. But today a bag of rice in Nigeria is over 100,000 naira. We cannot be consuming the goods and services while the Lagos will be benefiting from the BTA. We are saying that Nigerians will vehemently reject any attempt to increase communication tariff. We are going to use anything humanly possible within the ambit of law to reject it, to fight it until the normalization has come back to this country. We reject the increase of VAT. We vehemently reject the increase of VAT, and we call on the federal government even to take the VAT back to 3%, because Nigerians are not even seeing the benefit of the increase of taxes, of collecting taxes in Nigeria. Today, presidency cannot account what they have done with the removal of subsidy fuel money. Where are they? What have they done with them? What the Nigerians have benefited from removing the fuel subsidy and all other subsidies that are removed in this country? Nigerians cannot attest to it. There is no any infrastructure that is allocated to that. There is no any development people here, so that at least we will know the views of other groups and our affiliate group on the tax reform bill. You see, what we are seeing is that there are so many reforms that this administration brought, and we have gone through this tax reform bill chapter by chapter, page by page. We have scrutinized it, and we have seen what the content of the reform bill. You see, the petroleum industry bill, which I believe that it is more important to Nigeria and Nigerians than this tax reform bill, almost took over 10 years in the National Assembly before it becomes a law. Suddenly the federal government is rushing. Suddenly the federal government developed a much personal interest on the tax reform bill. We have extracted the tax reform bills, and we have realized that if there is not even clear definition of terms in that reform bill. If they say derivation at what point? If you are talking of derivation at the consumption point, do we have the actual data what Nigerians are consuming from various states? We don't have. If you are talking about derivation at the headquarters of the company, that means Nigerians will be worshipping Lagos. This is what we are talking about. I refer you to section 3, subsection 3, section 7, subsection 6, section 8, subsection 2, section 23, 28, 118, and 141. That is the supremacy clause of the Constitution. Even if I refer you to the derivation formula, that is section 77, that is talking about the distribution of the derivation point. If you are talking about section 59, that is talking about the funding of NIDA, NASENI, and TED Fund, which I believe that all of you knows the contribution of this agency to Nigerian development. Especially, particularly, I'm talking about TED Fund. TED Fund is funded now by 3%. By next year, it will be funded by 5%. In the next 2020-19, TED Fund will be funded by 50%. In the 2030, they will cease the funding of TED Fund, which automatically is telling you that the infrastructure development, the research activities, and even the training and the on-training of the lecturers at the university will not go well. So this is what we are saying, that democracy, the basic principle of democracy is consultation. We urge the federal government and the National Assembly to halt the deliberation on the bill, to go back to the grassroots and consult Nigerians until all the terms are clearly defined, until all the ambiguities are clearly defined, and until the policy become a popular policy rather than stay an unpopular policy. The administration has brought so many policies in this country. We have seen the reform of policy in petroleum sector, and today Nigerians are buying petrol at the cost of over 1,000 naira. We have seen the reform in the electricity sector, and today the ban A we are talking about, they cannot even enjoy that 20 hours of electricity, and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu made a single unit of that ban A 60 to 70 naira, and today Nigerians are buying a single unit from ban A over 200 naira. We have seen the reform policy in food security, and today's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu met Nigerians buying a bag of rice at the rate of 30 to 35,000 naira, but today a bag of rice in Nigeria is over 100,000 naira. We have seen the reform in the aviation sector, and today a ticket applied from Lagos to Abuja, Abuja to Lagos, Kano, Maiduguri and other places, you will assume that you are even a fine international ticket. We have seen the reform in the education sector, and many students cannot even afford to go and pay school fees. Go to unity colleges, go to federal colleges, students cannot even afford to pay that fees. We have seen the reforms, we have seen the reform in forex exchange, and today dollar is skyrocketing between 1,700, 1,600 and 1,500 naira. Naira is no longer appreciating over dollar, and dollar is always appreciating over naira. The government is disastrous, the government is catastrophic, the government is bringing more harms and good to the society. Nigerians are no longer enjoying the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Let me say it categorically clearly. We are even requesting that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should take this country back to where he met it before. Even if we believe that Buhari has done nothing to the country, but those days of Buhari are even better than days of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu today. Nigerians are suffering. The empirical evidence of suffering of Nigerians cannot be undermined by any Nigerian. Not only Nigerians, but the whole world knows that Nigerians are suffering. Go to the inflation rate. Today, inflation rate, we are talking about almost 34.something% of inflation rate. Put inflation, we are talking almost about 40% in Nigeria. And the government is comfortable with that. The leaders are comfortable with that. Nobody is saying anything. And we think that we can hold our arms without saying anything. Enough is enough. Nigerians cannot take it. Nigerians will reject vehemently any policy that is detrimental to Nigerians. We cannot take it. And recently, 2 to 3 days ago, we are talking about the increase in tariff of communication companies. See how the government are, in fact, they are inhuman. They are inhuman. They are not even the way the Nigerians are moving. They are talking about even increase in tariff of communications. How will you think that Nigerians can afford to any communication now? Therefore, in conclusion, we are saying it categorically clearly that if President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has any veil or reform that he wants to do in this sector, we call on him firstly that all land borders in this country must be open. We cannot allow Lagos to be enjoying 70 to 80% of importation in this country. All communication companies, all headquarters of any company in Nigeria that is situated in Lagos should be taken back to Abuja, so that at least Nigerians will enjoy the same derivation with any other state in the country. Because we cannot be consuming the goods and services while the Lagos will be benefiting from the BTA. We are saying that Nigerians will vehemently reject any attempt to increase communication tariff. We are going to use anything humanly possible within the ambit of law to reject it, to fight it until the normalization has come back to this country. We reject the increase of VAT. We vehemently reject the increase of VAT, and we call on the federal government even to take the VAT back to 3%, because Nigerians are not even seeing the benefit of the increase of taxes or collecting taxes in Nigeria. Today, presidency cannot account what they have done with the removal of subsidy fuel money. Where are they? What have they done with them? What Nigerians have benefited from removing the fuel subsidy and all other subsidies that are removed in this country? Nigerians cannot attest to it. There is no any infrastructure that is allocated to that. There is no any development that is situated to that increase. Even before the end of the meeting, the audience are rejecting the bill in its current form. We rejected it in its current form. We call for a wider consultation because we believe that democracy is all about consultations. The position of CNG, that it's not the position of CNG. We have over 300 groups here, youth, women, business organization and other stakeholders. We are rejecting the bill in totality in its current form. We are calling for a wider consultations. People need to be consulted so that the bill will live or will become a popular policy rather than its current condition of unpopular policy that Nigerians are not happy with it. We are telling the government that Nigerians are suffering. The government should do anything humanly possible to alleviate the sufferings of Nigerians. Food items are skyrocketing. Services are skyrocketing in Nigeria. Nobody is enjoying the country and nobody is enjoying the administration. All the subsidies that the federal government remove in any sector should be brought back to Nigerians. Taxes should be reduced. VAT should be reduced to 3%. All land borders must be opened. all policies that will alleviate sufferance in Nigeria should be aided and persuaded with immediate effect. All policies that are detrimental to the living conditions of Nigerians should be rejected. The National Assembly should see to it that at least they have supported the policies that are detrimental to the consequences of Nigerians.
Insufficient sensitization to citizens to get them to understand the import of this reform. The citizens that are going to pay are clear about how long it will take for them to begin to see the impact of the reform when it is implemented. And it is also very clear, so many things have been done, in the closet, and therefore people are now questioning why it should not be an open issue like it had been done in the past, so that concerns of citizens can be harnessed and be taken into, so that they are mainstream into this reform in order to make the implementation very, very fair, justifiable, and people that are bringing out this money do so in a manner that they are convinced.
Between 50,000 and 70,000 naira, you will not have to pay tax. If you earn up to about 100 million, all these big people, in our society, then you have to pay up to about 25%, as is done in other jurisdictions, particularly the United States. That's one. So in other words, the reform is to help the poor. Number two, one of the four bills is saying that another look will be taken at the VAT distribution arrangement. The federal government used to get 15%. They are proposing the federal government should get 10%. States should get 35%. No, states should get an additional 5%, and then local governments should get 35%. Another thing is that every state should earn, in terms of VAT collection, according to the consumption of its people. That is the equity that Oyedele was talking about. In other words, sales tax is what states can collect. Sales tax. Not import tax, not other taxes that are due to the federal government. In other words, this is about reform coming from a government and administration that says it is reform-minded. The ethnic angle that people have put into it, the territorial angle that people have put into it, is where the controversy comes from. And the sum of the presentation by Zak Adedeji and Taiwo Oyedele is that this is a tax reform that will help Nigerians. Now, I think it's important that the Senate, the National Assembly, takes a look at these reforms. But to take a position that they are resistant to change and that you cannot change the tax situation in Nigeria is inadvisable. And they should not play politics with tax. Taxation and tax administration haven't been a major problem in this country, even since colonial times.
Okay, so the truth is there were about 4 bills. Barring anything, the Senate will pass that tax bill. And it's as good as a done deal. Because yesterday, after all the Order 12 rule book scenario that Ali Ndome and Nengi tried to do to be able to disrupt the people coming in, and it was because the likes of Taiwo Oyedele and Zacchaeus and Adedeji and the likes were coming in to the place to come and make clarification and explanation. And that's why they put that forward. So once, kudos to Bamdele, MOB, and other senators out there that stood their ground, and also Jibrin Barao, that stood his ground. Because you see, you cannot have an argument in the Senate, and real dramatics personnel in that argument are not made to come and enunciate their views. It is only fair to hear all sides. So I didn't support that drama by Ndume yesterday. Yes, I know what he's talking about, the rule book. But for us to be able to get clarity as regards the tax matters, you should be able to allow the likes of them Oyedele to be able to come into the hall, and they will be grilled, and they'll be able to make their presentation. And maybe like he knew that their presentation was going to sway people yesterday. That's why he was, saying all of that to try to block it, but he was overruled by Barao. And their presentation did sway a lot of people yesterday. And that's what has happened as regards this tax, law. The 4 bills there are very clear. What are some of the components of this bill? It's going to deal a lot with corporate taxing. Yes, 15% will be taxed for profits, for corporations. But also, this tax rule is very sensitive enough to understand that business make losses. So all the minimum tax threshold that businesses are ought to pay when they make losses will not be paid. And which is a welcome development, because we keep talking about the fact that government doesn't provide for a lot for businesses, and when they have problems, even in their losses, you are haggling them with all sorts of taxes. And that's a welcome development. Secondly, he talked about the fact that the tax is one for the poor, and he was empirical in his fact. He said those that earn about 1 million threshold, really one of the highest in Africa, will not pay taxes. So those that earn cumulatively 800,000 naira a year, plus an extra 200,000 they pay for rent, will not pay, that income tax threshold. But obviously, those that earn higher will be able to pay higher on the income tax threshold. But my grounds has always been, hope all what we collect in these taxes, we use it to subsidize life for the poor. Because that's the way it works in other countries. But in this country, the rich gets richer, they don't even pay taxes. I think the very first person that tried to have conversations about taxation in recent time was the former Minister of Finance, when the one that was, Kemi Adeosun, and she made a very startling revelation that says not up to, in a country where they say a lot of billionaires, not up to 100 people pay over 20 million naira income taxes in this country. And it was a big revelation when they made that revelation there. And we see a lot of private jets here and there and all of that. This was the same country that a leader once said, the fact that the country is growing was because there was a lot of private jets owned by Nigerians somewhere. But the truth has to be said, people were not paying their fair share in taxes. So that point now has been clarified. Also, it goes further to talk about the VAT, which is a contentious, and I get the argument from most parts, a certain part of this country. Because we have not seen a great production and consumption threshold from that part. This is the same part where we hear that some religious police destroy a lot of alcohol. And alcohol presents about 2% to the VAT. And you destroy that. So if you do not consume effectively, you cannot get your equitable share for not consuming in the tax system. So it's only clear and clear. I even think, and kudos to Taiwo Idele, I might disagree with him on other things. I even think to a large extent, this will spur a great deal of consumption. So governors in these states that are not meeting the threshold of consumption will buckle up and be able to ensure they create consumption. And how can they do it easily? Tourism potentials. There are many tourism potentials in the north that have not been tapped into. I mean, I don't know why today around the Mambila Plateau area, cable cars have not been built. They can't build resort hills and mountains around the Mambila area. That will be able to bring in a lot of influx of people, and it will bring about tourism potential. Look at the Yankari Games reserves. Look at other natural resources. So it's about spurring productivity in this area. And most importantly, he talked about harmonization of creation of new tax offices and all of that, and harmonization of the hitherto existing bills. I think for further reading, a lot of Nigerians will also go and study the bill even better. But barring any last-minute changes, it's going to go through in the Senate. And this is another way for President Tinubu. And in terms of consultation, give it to Taiwo Oyedele. He made his wide consultation. People were represented on this body. He's been at this since his administration started. And let us only see. See, any tax bill obviously will be up for reviews. If people have other considerations, they should be able to itemize this consideration and put in the review when it finally pushes on. I rest my case this morning.